What role can I carry from the most in Season 11? It's a question everyone asks at some point, and this video will give you all the details and guidance you need in answering that question. How are we, by the way, GameLeapers? Hope you're all doing well and enjoying the new changes Riot has brought into League. I'm Coach Eags, and whether you're a bronze, gold, or diamond, the tips and advice I'm about to give you apply to all elos. Lots of players think that you have to play a certain role at a certain level of play to escape that elo hell. Guess what? You don't have to. You can do it on every role, but I believe there is one role superior to them all, and this video will enlighten you on how to do it and the best champions to do it on. We'll be covering the advantages and disadvantages of this role and the champions I recommend to help you decide on what sounds most appealing to you. Also expect some cheeky tricks for the champions I recommend along the way. For all of our updates, guides, high elo analysis, and red hot content in general, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss a beat. On top of all that, if you're sick of being hard stuck, not only do our YouTube videos help you out a ton, but our website does even more. For any League of Legends enthusiast, it's everything you ever dreamed of. GameLeap.com. We let you in on how to play and think like a challenger so you can finally power through the ranks. Make sure you head on over to the website at the end of this video. Link will be in the description. Alright, let's get into it. So I want you guys to keep in mind that I'm basing this #1 role on carry potential. How hard can this role carry a game? The best role to carry from in Season 11 is jungle, and there are two reasons. You can influence the whole map, and we'll get into how to go about doing that. And two, the Season 11 items are straight up better for jungle than any other role. I can hear everyone screaming at me when saying that, but coach, my bot lane always feeds and I get blamed for everything, I can't handle it, oh my god, it's so bad. That is part of the game, my friend. But you know what all of those are? They're excuses. And I'm here to tell you that you can carry the most as a jungler this season no matter how bad your teammates are. So listen up. Alright, so I'm going to start playing jungle, okay, but how can I actually carry? Treat your games, guys, like it's a 1v1. It's you against the enemy jungler, and that's all that matters. I say this because every student I've ever coached jungling, whether they're Grandmaster or whether they're Bronze, thinks they are the only jungler that exists on the map. There is someone else on the enemy team with Smite doing the same job. Just like there's an enemy mid laner, an enemy top laner. The enemy jungler is not just a jungler, that player is your matchup and it's your responsibility to take care of them. It's so important to understand that it's not just about you getting fed, it's about stopping the enemy jungler from getting fed. This is typically why champions who can gank effectively prosper, especially in lower levels of play, because 99% of the player base doesn't jungle track and share the matchup mindset. For example, if a Xin Zhao starts at red buff and you know this, and ganks mid and kills your mid laner, I bet my gunner optics that you say to yourself, mid diff. I don't have gunner optics, by the way, but you know what role diff that really is? Jungle diff. Another situation, let's say your bot lane dies to a level 3 elite gank and you know she started topside and will most likely path towards bot, but you didn't communicate that information. You were too happy doing nothing and you say to yourself again, bot diff. These are excuses for your own mistakes, your negligence to think about your matchup. The only time almost every player thinks about the opposing jungler is when they appear on the map. So to realize they actually exist, they have to step on a ward or gank a lane. Essentially, you're saying that the only way you are able to tell where the enemy jungler is when you can see their champion icon on the map. This is already too late and your lane dies. This is so crucial. You know why? Because you can't be in 3 lanes at once, right? Physically you can't, but you can influence all 3 lanes at once, and that's the point. And this is why jungle is the best role to carry from, because you have a finger in every pie. But most players pull their finger out of that pie. Keep it in the pie and start communicating to your lanes where the enemy jungler is. Alright, so I've changed my mindset, but what do I have to do to jungle track and win my matchup? What are the steps I have to take? Well, the biggest weapon you have as a jungler is what? And it has nothing to do with what champion you're playing or what elo you are in or what your team comp is, the minimap. This is the #1 source of information. I want you to answer the following questions, guys. How can you tell where the enemy jungler starts? How can you tell what objectives are up and what objectives aren't up? How do you know if the enemy support isn't roaming? When are my camps respawning and what camps have I done? The answer to all of the above, the map, the bottom right. Watch any of the best junglers in the world when they're streaming and their eyes will be looking at the minimap every second. So what does it actually offer? Well, it offers information, and this information allows us to communicate, path efficiently, jungle track. It informs us what our best decision should be. Everything stems from that square. Okay, coach, I'm looking at the map more and feel as if I'm stopping the enemy jungler from achieving their goals. Anything else? What's another source of information that helps us as a jungler? If I press tab, what pops up? The scoreboard, good. So what information does this provide? Items. Okay, so this is important because we might have to build a certain way according to what the enemy champions are buying, yeah. And items also let us know how strong a champion is at that moment in time. Excellent. What else? Well, kills and deaths. Yeah, so we can see who's most likely to leave the game for sure, based on, who's stomping who. CS. Now we're talking. So why is CS important? Because it lets us know what lanes are farming efficiently, for sure. What about in terms of jungling? We can decipher what camps the enemy jungler has cleared and what camps are still up. Every jungle camp and monster on Summoner's Rift is worth 4 CS on the scoreboard. Raptors, 4 CS, Dragon, 4 CS, Red Buff, 4 CS, you name it, 4 CS. So when you see the enemy jungler gank a lane early on, and they have 16 CS, let's say, you know they've done 4 camps. Depending on the buffs they have or don't have, you know where another resource is, and you can steal that golden experience without wasting time hoping that it's up. And that's what most players base their play on, hope. And we never want that. We want to be certain, and we have to look at the map and scoreboard. Alright, okay, so I'm going to play jungle. Yeah, that all makes sense. Now, what champion should I play? Well, I'm going to recommend 3. The first one is Olaf. He's banned in just 2 games out of every 100, and this Viking is a monster. He's got clear speed, damage, tankiness. He's the ultimate 1v1er. Also excels at chasing down champions with his undertow, so when that enemy lane is pushed up, go and lob a few axes at them. They will never escape. The most dominant junglers at the moment as well are those heavy CC tank champions like a Mumu, Rammus, Nunu, and Olaf destroys them. His amazing ultimate Ragnarok counters their hard engage, and tanks will never invade you early game, so you can out-farm them for free because of your clear speed. The new mythic item Gore Drinker is also great on Olaf. When you're close to dying in a fight, use Gore Drinker's active Thirsting Slash to regain an absurd amount of HP. This synergizes with your passive and W, and you become so incredibly hard to kill. You will bait attacks and cooldowns, so even if you go down, your teammates will be there or should be there to clean up. What does Olaf lack though? Well, he doesn't really have any engage and no immediate gap closer. He can get kited, so make sure when you commit to going in, you can actually get in there. Second on the list is Hecarim. Great clear speed, damage and tankiness, sustain, but what's he better than Olaf at? As I just said, ganking and engaging, right? That's Olaf's weakness, that's Hecarim's strength. So for that early game, you can gank champions that aren't that pushed up because of your movement speed. You can close that gap so quickly, the enemy has less time to react. Later in a game when you start team fighting, Hecarim also excels because of his ultimate, Onslaught of Shadows. It's easy to connect with multiple enemy champions, and your damage and tankiness means you can one-shot squishes while surviving their burst damage. Hecarim also synergizes great with the new items. The updated Mythic Trinity Force works wonders on him, as do Death's Dance, Steric's Gauge, and Spirit Visage. The health regeneration from these items and Hecarim's W Spirit of Dread make him a force to be reckoned with. On the downside, he is banned 15% of the time and struggles into crowd control, so all those balmy Cinder abusers running riot in the jungle can really cuck Hecarim. Into squishy compositions, Hecarim is incredible, but be wary when picking him into tankier lineups. Third and last on the list is Kayn. When tanks get nerfed in 10.25, and they posted some information on that today, I'm calling it. This Darkin will be the best jungler for solo queue. You want to one-shot everyone? Shadow Assassin it is. You want to be unkillable? Rast it is. Kayn has everything. The mobility, the damage, the healing, the diversity and playstyle. If you want to have fun while winning, this topless axe wielder is the perfect choice. The most important decision on Kayn is deciding whether you choose his blue form or red form. Blue form equals damage and assassin, red form equals sustain and bruiser. So how do you choose? I think you choose based on what your team actually needs. If you have at least 3 damage dealers who are actually dealing damage and doing well on your team, pick red Kayn. You add tankiness, a knock-up and survivability to a composition that is most likely going to be squishy and vulnerable to heavy crowd control. And we're seeing a lot of this at the moment with a Mumu, Rammus, Leona, Thresh. If your team only has 1 or 2 damage dealers, pick blue Kayn. For example, if you have a tank top laner and a Galio mid, let's say, who's naturally tankier than the common assassin picks, you most likely need a bit more damage, so choosing blue Kayn is the way to go. This path is less forgiving, however. Get caught, you're gone. So timing your ultimate is key when you are engaging onto the enemy backline. A cool little trick for blue Kayn is that enemies cannot see your W when you cast it from fog. So if you use it from a brush or behind a wall, for example, they cannot actually see the outline of this ability. This is a great way to start off your combo and turn fights around because enemies can't see it and won't be expecting it. Disadvantages to playing Kayn. He is weak before his form, and CC can hold him in his evasive tracks. So in the early game, try to avoid the enemy jungler and farm, this is where your strength is. Like Hecarim, Kayn has trouble dealing with crowd control, and it's everywhere in League at the moment because of how popular tanks have become. It's easy for me to sit here and say, just dodge the CC bro like most people, so I'll give you a couple more options. Go red Kayn into these tankier comps. You can take tenacity in your runes and build merc treads. This will negate the impact of that crowd control. Also, take note of who you are actually playing against and the key abilities you need to try to sidestep. Being aware of what these abilities are is the first and most important step to dodging CC. You're not going to dodge Malphite's unstoppable force unless you anticipate it. I think in every jungle list at the moment there is either a Mumu or Rammus, and it'd be too easy and obvious for me to say pick this balmy Cinder abuser, they have the highest win rates in the game, blah blah blah. What happens when they get nerfed? Have you actually improved? So my picks are based on that matchup mental, thinking about the jungle in terms of me versus them, and this is the foundation of becoming a top tier jungler. You can still choose those overpowered tanks by all means, but it's easier to get used to out jungling the enemy and applying the tips I've given you with fast clearers. Guys, I want to know what role you think is the best to carry on. It might be mid, it might be support. Let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video and found it informative, please leave a like to help it get out there. And don't close your browser without checking out our website, GameLeap.com. If you are serious about maximizing your potential on Summoner's Rift, then look no further. One of the premier sites offering you instructive content to help you be the best. This has been Coach Cheeks. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, peace.